This is a fun treat. I'm glad this worked out. Dr. Elizabeth Pryor is going to be at the Peoria Riverfront Museum this evening for one of their conversation series. And she is in our studio now. Her dad, you might recognize the last name, Richard Pryor. Good to see you, Doctor. How are you?
Hello.
It's wonderful to have you here. And we asked you, I hope you don't mind me saying this, off air, we asked you when the last time you were here, and it was in 1978.
Correct.
Man, well, welcome back.
Thank you
welcome
so much.
Home.
Thank you.
We think you're family, right? All of us here in town, we all think that. We all think that.
Good. Well, I think your family too.
Because of your dad. Tell us what you do professionally. You're a professor?
Yes, I'm a professor of history at Smith College, where I teach about 19th century courses on slavery and even courses about my dad.
Well, and that wasn't always the case in my little research that I did on you. Not that you were distancing yourself from your dad's celebrity, but your dad was your dad, and you didn't necessarily delve into his work that much. Your profession, right?
Right.
When did that change? What? And then you have a new book, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Right. Well, a student in my class was talking about connecting to my lecture, and she quoted a line from a film that my dad co-wrote, Blazing Saddles.
Sure.
And she quoted the N-word in full. And I actually kind of flipped out in that moment. As a teacher, I wasn't sure what to do. And that's when the journey started, because of all people that she could have quoted in that moment, she quoted my father. I see it as a haunting right now.
I'm assuming she knew that was your dad, or no?
She did not. I never talked about it with my I never talked about it publicly.
Did you
ever.
say it then?
Nope.
You just took it in.
It took me another 5-6 years before I even still acknowledged it publicly.
Okay,
oh my goodness, that's unbelievable.
He was a comedian, clownish and all that. But at the same time, did you come to realize that his humor and the way he referenced and did things was kind of a barrier breaker?
I mean, he's completely groundbreaking. I didn't really understand how, people would tell me, oh, your dad's a genius, he's hilarious. And I'd be like, yeah. And I felt like I wanted to know him as a person, like what he liked to eat for dinner. I didn't want to know his work. But as I became a scholar of the N-word, which is what happened, there was really nothing I could read that didn't reference him, because he made the world reckon with their own racism by using that word on stage in a really powerful way.
And I don't say that there's a whatever, but it's so interesting, and I loved his comedy about this, because he, Samuel L. Jackson, and others throw it around all the time towards each other. But if a white person says it, it's like, oh, you can't say that. And I think your dad kind of made fun of that.
I think that my dad was using the word in a way that was subversive, that was protest, that was resistance, and that was a challenge. But he really, what makes his comedy so special to me is he made fun of everyone.
Yeah.
His characters.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just saw a video clip of him just this week. He was on the Johnny Carson show, and Johnny says, I think it might have been the first time they met. He goes, do I call you Richard or Richie? And the answer is hysterical. I won't let you. You just have to go Google that yourself.
Yes.
The name of the book is Something We Said, Richard Pryor, A Notorious Word, and Me, meaning you, right?
Yes.
And so the book came out about a month ago or so. What is it that you've learned about you in this journey? About not your dad, but you. What have you learned?
Well, like I said, for most of my life, I kept it really close to the chest.
Right.
And I see now in some ways that I robbed myself of some joy because, like, getting to hear, and I'm really excited being in Peoria particularly, because there are going to be people, I hope, who come tonight to hear me talk and who are going to be telling me stories about either knowing my dad personally or knowing a step removed, a grandparent. Somebody always told me these stories, and like I robbed myself of people sharing these like incredible memories of my father because I kept it so quiet.
Tonight at the Peoria Riverfront Museum, Dr. Pryor will be there. Doors at 5:30, and tickets online at PeoriaRiverfrontMuseum.org. I'll just say this, knowing the people that are going to come share stories with you, I don't know how much time you got after this signing. You're going to be there a minute. You are going to be there a minute. So that's going to be wonderful.
You know, it's interesting because the N-word is taboo. Your dad treated it as an open door to honesty, in a way. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that. Yes, we can, and let's examine why, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's right. I mean, he, we were just talking before we started. He grew up, his family were sex workers. He grew up in poverty. He grew up he had a hard experience growing up. And instead of trying to pretend that wasn't the case and to be buttoned up on stage, he decided he was going to be authentic. This is really where I come from. This is how we spoke. This is how we spoke to each other. And I'm going to do that on stage. And I think he opened the way to many artists, not just comedians, being truthful and, open on, for their audiences.
So a few years ago, a student stands up, quotes your dad's writing in Blazing Saddles, doesn't know that you are his daughter.
Nope.
That is an astounding story to me. And then it takes you on this journey because it knocked you back a bit, as you said earlier. That's okay. It knocked you back a bit. And through that journey and your own dealings with not only the word, but just racism in general. You're already talking about, you're already a teacher of history, a professor of history.
Yeah.
Where are we now? We're two white men sitting here. Where are we in this world of trying to understand better where each other is coming from your perspective, please?
Wow, that's such an easy question. No, that's a hard question. I am troubled by people thinking that Black history is an American history and that we should curb the amount of talking about history that we have. I mean, I was even talking to my husband on the drive down from Chicago about the history of Illinois and statehood and the state constitution and the way race played into that. And my husband was like, slavery is in every piece of U.S. history.
Right.
Even we're in a state that wasn't a slave state, right? And so it's dangerous to me that we are trying to keep people from talking about the history in its full colors, because there's so many incredible stories that we can be proud of. A lot of people fought really hard against that system, and I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from that.
Well, and your dad's one.
And my dad is one. And my dad was 50 years ago. Yeah. My dad was first of all, my favorite joke of all time of his is, we all know where Black humor started. It started on the slave ships. I mean, who even says that, right? So he's reading, he's reading, he's thinking, he's talking to other Black intellectuals, he's bringing it in. But he talks about, he talks about injustice, he talks about police brutality. I mean, it's really and he makes people laugh. It's actually funny. Right. Which is what the key is. He disarms his audience so that they're laughing and then also thinking.
Because what was taboo, certain words, including that word, he didn't dance around it. He went right at it.
He did.
This is your second visit only to Peoria. Your last time, 1978, when your grandma passed.
Yes.
Well, we're so happy you're back.
I'm so happy to be here.
You should come back more often, man. We have a good time here, and this city. It's been an unusual journey about your dad. I will say this, as a guy who's been doing this for a long time. Early on, it was like, well, he's too dirty to love.
Oh,
you know what I mean? He's too dirty. There was certainly that thought.
Yeah.
It had little to do with race. It had more to do with language, which is funny because that's what you're discussing in your book, right? And then that tide shifted maybe 15, 20 years ago. We were like, he might have been the best comedian that's ever lived. So let's do some stuff. Let's build statues. And hopefully in the very near future, not hopefully, in the very near future, there'll be a Richard Pryor exhibit at the Peoria Riverfront Museum. So you'll have to come back for that.
I want to.
See, that'll be your second time back.
Yeah.
So tonight, when you sit and talk with folks who are coming to this event with you, why do you like those events? What happens at them?
Well, just every time I talk about my dad in this way, I feel closer and closer to him. And he died in 2005 from multiple sclerosis, and it was tough. And the worst thing for somebody as brilliant as he was is he was silenced by the disease. And so he hadn't really been able to speak for years before that. And so there's some way in which he comes alive to me, and I feel every bit his daughter, and it's just been really powerful for me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And again, the book is born out of, tell this story again for folks who are just joining us.
An incident in my classroom back in 2010 when a white student said the N-word in my class, quoting film that my dad co-wrote, Blazing Saddles.
Remember that line?
Do you know what the line was?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was
Blazing Saddles is one of my favorites.
And by the way, isn't it interesting? We talk about this sometimes about that movie. Very difficult to have that movie come out today.
Yes.
We would all lose our minds if that movie came out today.
Yeah.
So, but this, what I love about this story is that the student didn't know who your dad was.
No.
That you were related.
No. She was just happened to quote him.
And so, what happened to your brain at that moment?
Oh yeah, it fizzled out, and it did, and it set me on a 3-pronged journey, because I needed to know what just happened to me. I had thought about the word.
Right.
What am I going to do in my classroom? How am I going to teach differently? And do I even know what this word means? And that's a lot of where my father came in, because anything contemporary that I read talked about Richard Pryor, and eventually had to start listening to his comedy.
But wasn't your dad like, everyone, we said this before, taboo, dances around it, and your dad's like, just say it. We all think it. Just say it and let's talk about it.
I mean, I think that's right, but I think that he was. I don't think he was just purely just say it. I think he was doing it to try to really
but
have
there
a
was
message.
a conversation there, but you can't get to that conversation without admitting you're thinking this. So just say it.
Exactly.
Or we can go on to it. Yeah.
He was calling people out on it. He's like, I know what you think when you see me, and and I'm not going to let you get away with it, and I'm going to make you laugh at yourself, which I think is so brilliant.
Dr. Pryor, it's absolutely a delight to meet you and have you in our studio. We hope you have a big crowd tonight at the Peoria Riverfront Museum. There's a lot of good stuff happening at that museum. I don't know if you've had a chance to look around yet, but a lot of wonderful things, including you tonight at 5:30, PeoriaRiverfrontMuseum.org for tickets. And that you can meet, greet, all those things tonight. And if you have good old stories, if you knew Mr. Pryor back in the day, or you know somebody who knew him, get to this event so that you can share those stories.
I would love that.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Where do we find the book? Everywhere books sell?
Everywhere books are sold. I love when folks buy them from independent booksellers. But yeah.
Nice. Well, it's great to see you.
Thank you.